What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sun Belt Syndicate. It's been too long, right, TJ?
Yeah, man. Off season is the worst season, but here we are back together again, and we're getting ready to talk some ball.
Absolutely. We definitely are. Before we get going too far, we will be with you from the first kick to the last pitch. That's a tagline I told myself I was going to say every episode last year, and it like cut on half the time I remembered to actually say the thing.
I don't think we said it every time, but
No, we definitely did not. But we literally were, right? We started with football. TJ, we kind of let everybody take a little bit of a break, except for myself. So you're my football expert and co-host, whatever we want to call it. But we have a lot of fun on the football aspect. We do cover basketball season, and then of course we cover baseball season. And last year with Coastal's run, we went deep into the summertime, covering Sun Belt and Coastal baseball pretty specifically. But anybody who's going to run deep, we're going to be there to cover it along the way. This is a live show. We welcome questions and comments. We might not be able to read them all, but we will try and at least show all of them up on the screen. Riley's already jumping in saying, if you like making money, Georgia Southern -1.5. Fresno is about to get dog walked. I like that. I'm with Riley on that.
Yeah. So I watched Fresno State last week, and they did not look good.
Nope.
So Riley might be onto something.
He might be. Riley's pretty good with the knowledge, especially when it comes to his team, which we know is Georgia Southern, especially after that comment. But yeah, we also want to thank two new sponsors. We kind of started with Phenom Football, where they really encompass a couple of sports, but their big focal point is football. They've got some really cool stuff. If you've got kids that play the sport, they sell gloves, they sell cleats. They've got a really cool cleat that really would go well. They could outfit the ULM team because they've got the P40 Warthog on a cleat. So that would be pretty cool. But anyway, Phenom, go check them out. We'll be sure to link them in the episode description. And as you can see on the shirt, for those watching visually, Don't Sleep Energy has come on as a sponsor. So we really thank them for what they've provided. And hey, guess what? Even if you don't drink the energy drinks, they've got just their name's cool, right? Don't Sleep.
Yeah.
Their stuff is Nike. It's Nike. So it's like, go support them with some Nike stuff because it's actually for Nike. It's extremely affordable and it's nice, right? I mean, it's Nike, so I can't complain there. I know TJ's a Nike guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything in my house is Nike or Polo, so we don't do anything else in here.
There we go. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And look, basketball host Zach is jumping in saying chance up. I'm sorry. I always say that wrong because the English language wants me to read chance, like
I know. I read it that way in my mind, but I was like, oh, nope, that's not what he meant.
Nope. Yeah. Riley thinks the shirt is clean. Thank you. I do agree. And then TJ, who's literally running a lot of the stuff in the background. There's two TJs, right? Now we have Mr. TJ Corman, and we're going to go through his career accolades here in a second, just for those who may be watching and don't know his history and why he's such an expert on the subject of football. But TJ O'Sullivan is with us now, running the website. He is our lead editor. He's writing articles. He's helping design graphics in the background. So we've got two really good quality TJs on the team. Let's just say that. How about that?
Shout out to you, TJ.
Yeah. And so welcome to the show. You can also watch this show now on sunbeltsyndicate.com. If you haven't been with us since baseball season, we have our own website. This show will run live on the website as you're reading through articles of your favorite teams. So another new way to check out what we're doing. But
yeah, get on over there and check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really helpful, honestly, writing this stuff and figuring this stuff out before the season gets going, because there was so much turnover, a little bit of turmoil in the off season. We'll get to those types of topics here in just a second. We are not going to try and keep you all night. We're trying to kind of get in and out, get this thing started, get back into the rhythm of having a show, and get everybody involved with a football show focused on the Sun Belt. So Seth's also jumping in and saying, my brothers, watching you guys, the Syndicate's youngest fan. Shout out Jace for watching right now. So hopefully he's not staying up too much past bedtime. It's school. School's back in session.
School is back, man. Let's get these kids in bed.
So we can watch the football. The show. There you go. Yeah. The Herd Huddle jumping in. A Marshall fan. We made it. Week 1. Go Herd. Absolutely. This is awesome, man. We already got a bunch of people popping in and having a good time. So Let's keep going. Oh, Seth's saying younger than Jace. That's right. I forgot that there's another little one. I mean, I just assumed he was talking about Jason and forget. But I just got to go up to Boone and see her, so that's really awesome that Seth got to welcome his first child to the world, and she's doing good, and a happy, healthy family over there.
Awesome,
Happy
man.
New Year. I like that. Happy New Year.
Yeah, that's it, Rob.
Yep.
We are back, baby.
After the show, we got a bunch of roster reloads to read. Yes, we have ODU out currently. I have not gotten around to share that because we were about to go live once that was kind of finalized. But if you're an ODU fan, go check that out. We've now covered your team officially, and Southern Miss will also be out either tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. Dominic jumping in. I missed your call earlier, Dominic. We'll get back to you. What's up, fellas? And Neil jumping in. What's up?
Neil, what's up, my boy?
I think Neil's going to be down there in Charlotte. We're going to talk about that. Without further ado, TJ, let's tell the people a little bit about who we are for those who may not have tuned in or listened before. So again, live show. I never played the game of football besides flag and some video games, some Madden, some NCAA, which I'm glad is back. But I grew up with a father who played Division II football for Bloomsburg University, of all places, if anyone's ever heard of that, in the middle of Pennsylvania. So I was grown up on football. I just never really played the sport. I was a little scrawny kid growing up. TJ's got a little bit different story, and I'll let you take it from here, TJ.
Yeah, man. 3-time national championship at Appalachian State. I had a small part in doing that. Richie Williams and Armani Edwards, man, they really, along with a bunch of other teams, a bunch of other guys on that team, really were glue and were played integral parts in us having some big wins during that time, though. But as far as myself goes, like I said, played a little bit of wide receiver, a little bit of running back at Appalachian State. I was a part of some great teams, and really, like I said, hope to be a key contributor on the show and hope to keep you guys entertained with some of the analyst stuff and some of the play-by-play breakdowns. And just excited to get back in the saddle, man. Ready to talk some ball.
Yeah. And since you didn't say it, 3-time FCS national champion, folks.
Well, you know.
besides App State and North Dakota State, like 3 times now. Not a whole lot of people in the world can say those types of accolades are attached to their names. So he knows what he's talking about.
I watched a little ball.
Yeah. And Adam's jumping in, man. I'm excited to see Adam in Charlotte, right? You already know it's tailgate time in Charlotte. Football is so back, and I'm ready. I'm ready to be
Speaking
there.
of that, did I tell you we were all linking up and you should be a part of this?
Oh, I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, we are. I don't know exactly where, but me, my other Dominic, Adam, Jason Bateras, hopefully, if you're watching, Josh Jackson, a bunch of us, man. Dre Legree, we're gonna be tailgating before the game, man. So bring your A game. And also, we're gonna have a sitting reach contest with Adam Kasu for Millie Goes podcast to win a free hat. So get your hamstrings warmed up.
I have a post ready for Millie Goats that I didn't get to put together yet, but I got my warm-up run in today. I got my stretch started. I got to keep it going through the week because my hammies are not set up for stretching. They're not set up for much, but stretching is definitely, so come on, we just send the details. That's what Adam's saying. There we go. I will be there. I just got to figure out the firm plan. I think what I'm going to do is turn into a work trip and get to Charlotte pretty early in the morning and then just kind of tail off towards the end of it. I mean, you can't get from one end of Charlotte to the other after 3:00 anyway. So there's no reason to work much past that.
Well, I was going to I took half a day on Friday. So I was going to I was going to leave probably around 11 and just head on up, get there around 1:30 and just hang out, kick back, and let the day take us where it goes.
There we go. Well, if you're going to be in Charlotte as just a random fan or certainly an App fan, I guess if you're a Charlotte fan, we could kind of invite you, all 10 of you. But yeah, come on over. Millie Goat's going to be hosting all kinds of fun stuff. So we'll be over there taking part in that, having a good time as we welcome football back. Before we get into the excitement, really, of this year, let's just kind of quickly recap what happened last year in the offseason a little bit as well. So we know Marshall claimed the championship, kind of dismantling Louisiana in that final game there, right? I mean,
yeah,
not the way. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, not the way Louisiana wanted to go out in that stadium. I mean, I know they're not really in a new stadium as far as location goes, but obviously a greatly renovated stadium with a lot of anticipation and excitement coming into this season. But yeah, they did not want to go out like that. And, part of that is that quarterback being hurt and going in with the guy they didn't plan on going in with, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those kinds of things will happen, man. Like injuries happen. The key to a great season is sometimes luck is involved, right? And sometimes you just get unlucky, and that's just kind of what happened to Louisiana. Look for a flag. Can't wait. Love hearing you guys talk ball. Yes, sir. Absolutely. But I think one of the biggest setbacks too for Louisiana was Marshall up front. Marshall's defensive line and linebacking core really stifled that run game and put kind of a damper on whatever plans they had to do, because the idea obviously was to run the football, right? When you don't have your starting quarterback and you want to establish a line of scrimmage, you want to run the football, and they were not able to do that because of Marshall up front. And I think part of that too, again, not having your starting quarterback gives that defensive line some edge, right? To say, hey, they got to have to run the ball, so we're already prepped and ready for this. So I think that was part of why, well, a big part of why they couldn't get their offense off the ground. But yeah, domination the whole way.
Yeah. Well, another reason is the guy right there on the screen, Mike Green. So he was on that defensive front for the Marshall Thundering Herd, and good for him. But unfortunately, the only Sunbelt player taken in the NFL draft, not the only Sunbelt player making noise in the NFL, though. That's what's awesome to see, right? These guys were not taken and signed as undrafted free agents, but there's a whole lot of them that seem to be making 53-man rosters here in the next couple of days. So that is exciting to see. I'm glad to see it, because I think a lot of us had hoped there was at least, a handful of Sunbelt players that could have been taken in the draft. And we only had one, and very deserving in Mike Green. In fact, a lot of people had him in the first round. I thought he'd go quite early in the first round, but hey, he ended up on one hell of a team. So I don't think he's got any complaints being ending up on Baltimore, who is a Super Bowl contender. So
yeah, absolutely. And you got Michael Jordan at quarterback. So
yeah, there you go. We also got Rasheen Ali running the ball from Marshall as well. We've got Isaiah Likely, the tight end, who unfortunately I think TJC got out for the season.
I don't know if he's out for the season. I know he's out for quite a while.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if he's out for the entire season. Mike Green was a dude. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh God, running back for Appalachian State is with the Browns. Had a heck of a preseason. Picked some good block pickups. To your point about a lot of Sunbelt players making some 53-man rosters, that was another one who we think is going to be really good. Amani Marshall, that's who it is. Yep.
Yeah, he looked great. I'm glad to see that too, with not getting his real shot until end of the season. But I mean, once he did, man, he was impressive. So
yeah, he took advantage.
Great to go on a run there. And then there's just a little bit of other news during the offseason. Texas State's going to leave. And technically, right now, as it stands, Texas State will be out after, baseball season concludes, right? They will no longer be a part of this conference after the spring sports are over. But we have a team coming in already. The weird thing is right now, as it stands today, they aren't coming in until 2027. So the 2026 football season could look vastly different if we have to shuffle around some divisions. Keith Gill at Media Days has already kind of alluded to the fact they might just have to get rid of them with only 13 teams. And it may just be for the season. It could be permanent. We don't really know. I think if I had to lean on anything, I think the Sun Belt and Conference USA probably get something done to just have this happen for next season.
Yeah, I would guess. I'd venture to guess that they want to keep the numbers pretty even. Obviously, for our sake, we want to keep the numbers even. But partly, the other part of that too is if you're already kind of 1 foot out of the door, how much are you really going to commit? So, getting it done, getting it off the table to kind of even the playing fields. I will say this though, I did not want Louisiana Tech. I'm just gonna be honest, and I probably shouldn't say that to the people that are listening. I wanted ECU badly. God, I wanted ECU so badly, just because and it's for a couple of reasons, right? I mean, one, obviously the North Carolina in-state East-West rivalry, that would have been just phenomenal. You could essentially just pick a game each year to go to, and then imagine going, to a coastal ECU game, those kinds of things, right? It's just,
which happens this year.
Yeah, right, exactly. But imagine that being a normal thing, So I think that is part of it. Part of it too is ECU is very close to my hometown. A lot of reasons that I wanted ECU, but we'll take what we, I guess, can get.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a lot of people who would have rather had ECU. In fact, I don't know if I've really seen anybody who said that they wouldn't rather have ECU. I'm not sure if it was really asked, but from what I had seen, I would say ECU was the heavy favorite. Look, we can't compete with what ECU makes in their current conference. We can't bring them in and ask them to pay an exit fee that's exorbitant, and then tell them you're going to make less in the Sun Belt. And until we have a new structured media deal, nothing with ECU is likely to happen. However, there has been a preliminary talk, and it seems like they didn't tell them to take a hike. So it could make a lot of sense. I mean, I think it really does make sense. That's why they even answered the phone call and took the phone call.
Yeah, absolutely, it makes sense. Geographically, where everyone is, I mean, absolutely, it makes sense.
Yeah, and if you have La Tech now, we know we've got them. We're stuck with them, whether you love it or hate it. I've come around to it a little bit because it does bring some intrigue in the West, right? Like there's people that hate La Tech in the West, and kind of we love that, right? We know App State and Georgia Southern hate each other. We love to play them. We love that matchup. You now have that with La Tech, Louisiana, La Tech, ULM, which is kind of a crosstown rival almost. I think where they're less than an hour apart or something like that. Southern Miss and La Tech have a lot of history. Marshall used to play in a conference with La Tech. I mean, there's more storylines here than people thought maybe initially, but
again, it's not all bad, right? I'm not
right.
I don't hate it. Right.
Initially we did.
Right. Because when you first hear it's like Louisiana Tech, who the hell, like I don't remember the last time I've ever even seen them play on television. And then you think of who you could have had. But then the more you think about it, like you just said, the history that's behind it, then Marshall, there's a lot of things that make you come around to it and say, hey, you know what? It might not be all bad. So we'll see. I will say Texas State was kind of the way out there, like outlier. So it does make sense that they're gone now and replaced with a more, I guess you can call it centrally located, or I guess easternly located team in relation to Texas. Texas State. So I guess there's that. I just think for me and my money, I would have rather had, ECU.
Yeah. Well, we have a Southern Miss fan weighing in, Destiny, big time Southern Miss fan, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball. You can check her on the Twitter. She will keep you in check. She's not a burner. Her face is attached to her account, but she knows ball, and she is a big-time Southern Miss fan. So she thinks it's a lazy ad, and I think initially I would agree. But again, as I've seen more stuff and kind of thought about the history between other teams, I've come around to it a little bit. It's great for baseball. ECU would have been just as good, if not better.
I was going to say ECU is just as good for baseball.
Yeah. Well, it is true. I mean, I think that we can all agree on this. It's unexciting, right? I mean, I don't think anybody was like, sweet, we got La Tech. I mean, maybe some ULM fans, but I'm thinking even they didn't love the idea, right? Like their admin may have loved the idea, but I don't think their fan base actually really truly loved it. So
I'll call it a convenient ad. It was a convenient ad. It was
convenient.
I like it, nothing about it jumped off the screen. And quite frankly, La Tech could use the money. So it is what it is. So,
well, I just love the fact that, the one aspect of it that was pushed was like ULM really needs to not travel as far and this and that. I'm like, I mean, one, that affects everybody, right? Like,
sure. Like, I don't know why you think it only affects them, but whatever.
The one travel distance between, Texas State and La Tech's going to save them a ton of money. I mean, it's going to save them money, of course, but I don't know. It's just a aspect that I thought was kind of a weird one to kind of lean towards, but
like I said, it's a convenient excuse.
Yeah. it feels like we gave them a life raft. They don't add anything to the conference. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that. I agree. I don't think they add. Like, here's the thing, right? We just talked about ECU media deals. You bring in a brand like that, they're going to give you more dollars. You bring in a brand like La Tech, I don't think you're going to get any more dollars. You might not go down, hopefully, but I don't think they help you gain more money.
Right. Like, well, and then too, like if you, let's say hypothetically you add an ECU, then you get potentially an ECU NC State game or ECU Carolina game or ECU Wake Forest, and then an App State Wake Forest or an App State Carolina. You know what I mean? Like you keep it in the state of North Carolina. That's going to bring viewers. Even if it's just East Coast viewers, it's still going to bring you more views than Louisiana Tech and ULM, right? Like, again, not down on Louisiana Tech. I'm just saying what could have been versus what is all.
Yeah, I agree. But that pretty much covers it. I mean, there's really the realignment's always going to be the biggest talk, right? And hopefully for a little while we're kind of done with it. And, it looks like 2030 or maybe really 2029 where it's going to pick back up again because the media right deals for a couple conferences, I think, expire at the same time. I know that's the Sun Belt's one is 2030, I believe. So it's not over, but hopefully at least for a little bit we can kind of not worry about it and focus on some other things like the Sun Belt's top games. These aren't all of them. These are just graphics to represent some of them. I don't know, TJ, do you want to start off with one that either you agree with or maybe you disagree with? I don't know. But just tell us which one you're looking at here as maybe one of your top games for the year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously as an Appalachian State fan, I'm a homer, and I'm going to say Boise State because I always want to see us do well against teams that we consider, major schools. But I'm going to tell you a sneaky good game is going to be Georgia Southern and USC. I think that's going to be a sneaky good football game, and Georgia Southern is going to give them more than they want. I'm not going to pick Georgia Southern to win it just because this, the size difference in the trenches and those kinds of things. But we've seen how that can, how the tide on that can change based on if you have speed and whatnot on the outside. But that's going to be a sneaky good football game. I'm not sure what the math is on it in terms of, who's favorite and by what. But if I had to guess, it's probably USC and not by a lot.
Yeah, and that's not a week one game, right? So we just heard that Georgia Southern's going up against Fresno first, which is kind of weird, right? They're going to go to California. I don't know. Maybe they stay, but if you don't, you fly back across the country a second time. So it's just
wait. Are they back to back?
Yeah, their first two games are Georgia Southern at USC week 2, and their first game is at Fresno State. Yep, just to confirm that. I thought I had that right. Yeah, week 1 and 2, both California opponents. Now, if they're not traveling back, I like them even more in this matchup. Not necessarily to win. I'm not saying that, but they're not. If they had just gone across one time, all that's a tough game. We saw Coastal try and do it against UCLA, and UCLA wasn't even a great team last year,
right?
Or 2 years ago. I think McCall was still on the team when that one happened. But it's not easy to go all the way across the country and change everything about it. Okay, here we go. Got to talk. These guys are experts on Georgia Southern. I'm glad they're jumping in to let us know. Georgia Southern is staying.
So that changes things, Dom.
Yes, it does.
Things a lot. So, okay, I've already got them. In my opinion, I got them by a touchdown at least against Fresno State. In my opinion, that's going to be sort of a tune-up game for them.
Yeah.
And for me, in my money, I'm thinking Fresno State tune-up game. You work the kinks out. USC is not a great football team right now.
No,
and they really haven't been for the past couple of years. No. So, I want to take them so bad. I'll come back to you. I want to think about it.
We do have a week. We have a week, right? This is not the
first week
matchup, so we don't
want to put my feet to the fire just yet.
But this is the fun part, right? This is why it's listed as a top game for the whole year. I mean, this is the kind of shot that those types of teams, and we want to see them go and take advantage of because
God, wouldn't that be so sweet to beat Fresno State and USC back to back and have those at Sun Belt wins? I hate Georgia Southern, but I would love that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad Artie Katz jumping in. I didn't see this in time, but he was talking about ULM possible. Yeah, there was some talk about dropping down to FCS. They have confirmed that's not going to happen, but again, where there's smoke, there's fire. Is it a possibility? I would say it's a possibility because their acting head coach is now acting as their athletic director as well. That would be very difficult. Destiny saying Georgia Southern win would feed families.
Yes, it would. Yes, she knows ball,
Yep.
man.
She definitely does. She definitely does. Gotta talk saying Clay Helton revenge tour. Absolutely. I mean, this is the guy who spent many years there building up his resume in different positions on the coaching staff, finally gets his shot. If you go back and look, he had a very impressive overall record, then gets fired. Because look, and to be fair, it's kind of the same situation as App State just went through with Sean Clark, right? Like his overall record wasn't atrocious, wasn't as great as it should have been, but it wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible. Other teams would have thought that he was building.
I was going to say, you put him on another team. That's a great. I don't want to say great record, but certainly serviceable. You know, but
absolutely.
it's just not that's not the standard. The standard, to steal a line from Coach over there in Pittsburgh, the standard is the standard, right? And that was the problem. You know,
is that another way of saying the ceiling is the roof? Is that kind of like the?
That's very similar, because ceiling, roof, ceiling and or roof, you pick.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe you ever said that. But doing this show and fumbling over my own words without thousands of people watching me all on a basketball floor, I understand it now, right? Like, because you start saying something and you're like, I got to continue it, but that's not where I want to be.
And it's just me and you here. I should say that in front of 15,000 people.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? Jeez. Oh man, it's crazy. Ben James jumping in, our big time resident Arkansas State fan. So yeah, he's saying their big question is the new look defense with a new defensive coordinator. Not just a new defensive coordinator, a whole new defensive staff. I mean, I would say he brought in his own guys, so that's good.
I was going to say he brought his guys with him.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a question mark. I mean, they've got to turn it around. That's a game not shown that I think is another big one, because Arkansas State gets a shot at Arkansas for the first time ever, if you're hearing that correctly, ever. They have never played their own in-state opponent. That's crazy to me.
That's weird.
But for that reason, I mean, not that we wouldn't already be doing this, but for that reason, I hope Arkansas State wins the game, right? Like that would be just fitting. Like, okay, we've been telling you we could, have a real shot at beating you, and now we finally get it. We do it.
If I can tell you this, if Arkansas State wins against Arkansas, Adam Kasuf is not going to let me live it down, because I've been high on the SEC my entire life, and he is absolutely going to make me eat crow if Arkansas State beats Arkansas. So I'm rooting for it, because obviously I want it to happen for some purposes, but I'm prepared to eat crow. Adam, if you're still watching.
Yeah, well, yeah, we would love to see it happen. TJ saying check out our sunbeltsyndicates.com. Top 5 best non-conference games. And yes, definitely a little mention of the Helton situation. TJ wrote that article, so he's shamelessly plugging himself. But it actually is a really good article. Yeah. If you put in quality work, we will push you in front of the people. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a good read. Like literally, he didn't tell me he was writing it. He just started doing it, and I jumped in to do something else, and I read the whole article, and I texted him immediately and was like, dude, this is really good. We got to put this out immediately. Now, in that article, well, I won't share anything, but a couple of these games obviously do appear. One that Destiny would probably be very interested in, which she's probably going to, I would assume, maybe, is Mississippi State traveling to Southern Miss. Typically, the P4s will not allow us to host games, so that's a big deal. And they get the shot to host an SEC team themselves. And I don't know, TJ, I'm thinking Southern Miss may have a really good shot here. We know they were a 1-win team last year, but this is totally different. And not only are they totally different, but the Mississippi State staff is going to have to go back and watch like Marshall formations, Marshall plays, and hope that they haven't changed a whole bunch of things to get a read on what this Southern Miss team is now going to come at them with, right? I mean, isn't that a pretty big advantage in week one?
It is to an extent, right? Because we both know, me having played, you having watched the game your entire life, athletes are going to be athletes, right? And so the reality of it is if Mississippi State has more athletes than Southern Miss, Mississippi State's going to win. Whether it doesn't matter about the game plan, right? And I hearken that back to as good as we were at Appalachian State when we went on to go play LSU. It didn't matter what our game plan was. They were going to beat us regardless because they had better athletes and bigger athletes and stronger athletes than we did. So it just is what it is. Now I say that affectionately because I do want, obviously, so I want all of us to win these non-conference games, especially the big ones. I want us all to win them. That said, there's some that just won't happen, right? Georgia Southern, USC, pretty good shot. Appalachian State, Boise State, pretty good shot. Louisiana and Missouri, pretty decent shot. JMU is probably going to beat Louisville. So that, I mean, we can't all win. Right. And unfortunately, Missouri is just, Mississippi State or Southern Miss, Jesus, is going to have to be one that fall on the sword, so to speak.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they won't be able to out-athlete them. I mean, I don't even have them. I don't think I have them. We'll get to predictions here in a little while. I don't think I have them top 4 or 5 coming out of the West.
Yeah. I mean, it's this season and really the last season or two at this point now, almost impossible to actually correctly predict. We're throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it sticks, right? We're gonna have predictions on everybody's record, but listen, I don't want people to get up too high or too low on us because we're doing our best guesses here, and there's really no one that's gonna know what these things are all gonna be when it all plays out. We're trying to have some type of semblance of where these teams might be, but we could be way off. So
we'll do that. We have to is to base it on last year and then based on who's coming back, who's healthy, who's not healthy. What do we see? What's the predictions? Like that's what it's about. It's about saying. I was watching Millie Go's podcast and I was on it a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about predictions for the NFC East for Cal. I mean, we have no way of knowing, right? Dak didn't play almost over half of the season last year. We don't know who the Cowboys are going to be. They're probably going to stink or probably win 10 games and then lose in the first round of the playoffs. Who knows? The problem is there's teams that are going to be healthy. Again, is the Washington Commanders going to repeat what they did this past year? It's a good chance they won't, and that's the fun in doing this kind of stuff is we don't know what the hell's going to happen. And just like you know, so we're here to watch along with you and we'll talk about it every single week.
Yeah. And just like Artie says, it's like getting a new team now every single year.
Sure.
We started putting out those roster reload articles. Like I said, within the next few hours, probably we will have all 14 teams done. So your team has been written about and you can go and get an idea of now who's on your roster. This is literally why we put it together because some people don't know. Marshall fans sometimes are saying like, I don't even know who's on the team. Right.
I was going to say, hell, I don't even know who all the new people are on the app. And I graduated there.
Yeah. It's going to take time to learn. And that's okay. Sometimes that's the fun of it. Now, is that going to be sustainable forever? Right. Like we've already talked about this. We won't get into this now, but is there some type of CBA that becomes part of this or some kind of restriction? You can't just leave for 4 different schools in 4 years. Who knows? That's something that, again, we'll just have like a whole, season, a whole episode based on something like that in the future. But
sure,
it is crazy. It's not like it used to be at all. And we're going to find out a whole bunch of things here pretty quickly in the first couple weeks. But we also have to remember that, a lot of these games are non-conference. In fact, there isn't a game shown on this graphic right now that is a conference game. We still have a lot of those too. But you always focus on the ones where you have the shot to take down the big school, right? Those are the ones everybody wants. Those are the ones people are going to talk about because they happen at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, TJ's a Commander fan, so he's Commanders to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't want to.
I joined him, TJ. I mean, I'm saying TJ when there's both TJs, but I joined him. I'm a Commander fan now. I'm gonna do it because I got Eagles fans up north. I've got you and Seth is both Cowboy fans. It's gonna give me a lot of fun to watch the NFL, to be rooting against you guys specifically. But really, the reason I chose them, I left my Panther fandom in the past. There was too many things with that franchise that I couldn't keep up with and didn't appreciate. But I was watching. I wasn't a big fan of Jaden Daniels, since I didn't dislike him, but I just, he's West Coast.
I love him. Well, my love for LSU. So
yeah, and I mean, yeah, I had hate for LSU, and that's probably why I didn't really want to like him. But I'll tell you what, man, fun as hell to watch. Just the stuff they pulled off, the way they came around as a team, like it was so much fun to watch. I couldn't deny it. I was like, every time they were on, I wanted to watch them play. So
it's must-see
I don't know.
television.
Yeah, I don't own a single thing of Commander's gear, and I'm in no rush to do so. But I think that's kind of who I'm sticking with from here on out. Sold all my Panthers gear. That's how serious I am about kicking them out to the curb. So
I don't think I could ever. I could never do that. I don't even think my conscience would. I wouldn't even be able to sleep if I went out on the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, yours a little different. Like they were a historic franchise.
Relax, Destiny. We're not gonna do this, okay? We got Nussmeier's gonna win us. Nussmeier's gonna win us a natty this year, okay?
No, don't use that "we" term there. Come on.
I'm staying by a million.
Yeah, I love it. Ben James is a Seahawks fan. I think he's explained this to us once. We don't have to get him to do that, but he's saying go Seahawks and can't stand the Cowgirls or the Chiefs. So a little bit of fun there. All right, that covers some of the top games. Again, go read the article for the top 5 from the SunBeltSyndicate.com officially, and let us know your thoughts. We're not afraid of people saying that they think we were wrong or that they think it's going to be vastly different. That's fine. Destiny's getting sick over there now. Good job, TJ. Artie, yeah, but if you don't watch SEC shorts, I would love to do a Sunbelt one. I just don't know if I'm good enough writer to include 14 teams and do it every week by myself. But maybe we'll try something like that in the future. But he's referencing the roster flex jersey from the new SEC short skit. Just peel and stick. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I hadn't seen it. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, those guys do a great job. I wish we had the money, time, and talent to, do something as similar for the Sun Belt. And again, maybe we'll try something in the future, but we'll not going to put any guarantee on anything of that. All right, here is the 2025 football preseason coaches poll for the Sun Belt. We won't go over this fully, but we're just putting this up on the screen, kind of give you an idea of where the coaches think that each team is going to end up. We've got, most of the people in the East thinking JMU is going to claim it, but we have a single vote, first place vote, that is for Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, and Marshall, of all people. A little interesting, even though they were down in 6 overall, they did get one first place vote. In the West, we've got Louisiana and Texas State splitting because they each got 6 votes. Arkansas State and South Alabama also getting a first place vote. All right. So that is from the coaches. And, Chad's saying that Commanders won't sniff the playoffs.
Now, that's strong. That's a strong take. I don't know that I believe in that, but let's not see. And this is coming from a 49ers fan who has, listen, Brock Purdy is second rate as a quarterback. Okay. Ooh. Get over it. Get with it. He's not. And I'll do you one better than that. 49ers won't make the playoffs this year.
Oh, I'll put my money where my mouth is. Purdy is elite, he says.
Sam Donald's going to run that conference this year.
There you go. Oh, man. Ben James says the Red Wolves are debuting a new helmet this weekend versus SEMO, which is Southeast Missouri, for those who don't know who SEMO is. Those of us East Coasters who don't see SEMO very often. Chad must be a little behind. He's at LSU for the Natty, and he's laughing hysterically. But where is the hotline? Oh, man.
He's saying that because I called into his show a couple days ago and was irate about his predictions.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
we'll get a hotline one day, Adam.
Well, we need to have a side episode with NFL talk. Apparently, this is going off the rails here, which is fun. I'm all for it. Destiny said, "Get ready to learn Spencer Rattler, buddy," and then she says, "This is satire," because she wants to confirm the fact that she does know ball and she's not serious with that comment. But yeah, SEMO is Junior Conference USA now, right? I don't know if SEMO is in Conference USA, actually. I don't think that they are. I think that's Missouri State. that's just moved up to Conference USA, who Marshall plays. But SEMO is different. I believe they're still at the 1AA level. But anyway, that was the coaches poll. Jumping into our predictions, this is where we're going to lose some viewers or get a whole lot more comments. Not really sure just yet, TJ. One thing we didn't do is lay out the conference record. So as you can see here, as an example, JMU for TJ is 10-2 this year, while I've got them at 9-3. Just below that, we both have Georgia Southern sitting at 9-3. So if you look at TJ's and you see JMU 10-2, Georgia Southern 9-3, you would assume JMU is going to be the conference representative for the East. But as we were discussing before the show, since we didn't put up the conference records, technically, those two losses for JMU could have been suffered in conference, while, two of Georgia Southern's losses were suffered outside of conference. They only lost one in the conference. So we did that. I did that a little bit on purpose because, I don't want to get to the nitty gritty of like what we think everyone's going to be in conference. I did that on the background myself. So I might make mention of one or two of those things. But we're also going to tell you who we believe will end up in the Sun Belt Conference Championship by the time it's all said and done. And we're not going to go through every game on every schedule, but I don't know, TJ, we were talking about it before we went live. JMU's got a lot of expectation and weight on their shoulders, but we kind of still think they're going to get it done, right?
Yeah, I mean, we both talked about it before. We line by lined it, or game by game that before the show. I can't see more than 2 losses. Get JMU out of my face, no chance. I don't believe it. Listen, they got and I was telling Dom this before. Anytime we all pick the same team, something happens. So there's a good chance because we're all picking them, JMU won't be first place. That said, I can't, in my heart, fathom picking Georgia Southern as first place in the East. Can't do it. Won't do it. So I'm picking JMU. Unfortunately, I don't think App State right now, and I say right now in parentheses because I do think we're on the uptick. You've got the right people in the right places from a coaching and leadership perspective. I think we got the guys that are going to be there for a little while. This is my hope. Even if the head coach isn't going to be there for a while, we got a guy that we know and we love that could be that next guy up, to sort of man the ship. And so I think tradition is going to start coming back to Appalachian State, especially, with DJ being there running the defense, and really instilling what it takes to get. And now I think it'll take a year or two for us to get back to that double-digit win, if I'm being honest and realistic. But I don't think we're far off. And honestly, if we won 9 to 10 games this year, that wouldn't surprise me, because there's always that one chance that we win a game or two that maybe you don't think we're supposed to win. So, we'll see. But I do have JMU winning it all in the East or being first place in the East.
Yeah, that's the one thing we didn't do. We didn't go down and break down who's going to actually win the championship game. We just put in who is in the championship game. And, maybe we can do that if we really want to. But, again, that's so far out. I think just predicting who's going to end up in the game at this point is enough. There's so many different factors, as we saw last year with injuries, what they can do to a team. So, yeah, already saying love them or hate them, JMU has had one of the most successful move-ups of all
100%.
time. It's kind of
100%.
Isn't it kind of funny, though, how many times we've said that with teams in this conference? Marshall really was one when they moved up from FCS that had one of the best transitions of all time. App State moved up, and they had a little rocky start at the very beginning of their first year, and then they went on a tear to start winning, and they didn't let up for a few years, and then they were thought of as having one of the best starts of all time. And now we're talking about James Madison doing it. So it's kind of been awesome to see the Sun Belt grow with these teams that have come up with winning tradition and winning culture. And again, that's not just James Madison. We're talking about 2 other teams right here in the East who have done the same thing. Unfortunately, at one point, ULM was a 1AA power, right? Not for as long, not as sustained, but they were still winning a lot and making it all the way to a national championship. In fact, I think they won one of the national championships in the 1AA level. They just haven't had the success since they've gotten up here to the top of it. So it's just kind of interesting to see how successful some of these teams have come in and been immediately. And we do agree with you, Adam, that can't wait for DJ to get a hold of that defense.
It's going to be special.
I specifically was listening to the Black and Gold podcast. Congrats to those fellas. Just quick shout out. They are the reason that I started doing this. I actually reached out long ago to be a part of their program, to get my feet wet and not have to do everything myself. But I'm glad this worked out the way it did, because now I've got a former App State wide receiver as part of this thing, and he's become a friend as well. But they just celebrated, I think, 10 seasons. I think it's 10,000. Wow. Yeah, 10. I think it's 10 seasons. They said 10 years they've been doing this.
That's insane, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats to those guys.
Yeah, they do a great job. I was listening to their show. I think Ethan Johnson was the guest that they had on. I think it was just him and AJ this week, actually. And there was a noticeable change in the way that Ethan Johnson was talking about the team when he brought up what's changed on the defense. It was kind of like everything. Like he perked up a little bit. Like, no, it's I'm serious. Like it's changed. Like it's different. So that's kind of for App State fans specifically. It's definitely fun and good to hear something like that. But we'll have to see. And we're going to get our first taste of it at the end of this week. Artie Cat agreeing that great Sunbelt addition for Jamestown. Yeah, they really were. And they had some history, right? They had some history with Georgia Southern. They certainly had history with App State. And obviously, probably not to the extreme as far as the championship factor of it, but they had a lot of history with ODU as well because they were in-state rivals. So it was kind of a natural fit, really, when it started to happen that they moved up. And Ben James, yes, the JMU coach did come in from Holy Cross. So he went from one purple team to another. So he didn't have to change his wardrobe all that much. Cody says, I am impressed that either of you could make a legit prediction for Marshall. They're the only team with a 12-0 ceiling and an 0-12 floor.
He's not wrong.
Roster. They played Georgia week 1, so I don't think they have a 12-0 ceiling. But yeah, maybe 11-1. yeah, maybe 11-1. But no, I get what he's saying. It really is true. Like they could be phenomenal because the one thing that people are harking on is like, oh, he's brought in a lot of guys that don't necessarily have experience on the defensive side of things. But Tony Gibson is a defensive coach, right? I've got Marshall struggling now. I think we had this part of the discussion. I actually thought going in, I was going to end up with the Marshall record of about what you had, 6-6, 7-5, something like that. Once I went down the list, I just couldn't. There was some I just don't know. And I'm
thinking some of the same ones that you don't know about are ones that I picked, and so like the ones that could kind of go either way. And to his point is what I'm thinking he means is because they could fluctuate so heavily one way or the other. I kind of got them in the middle. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, that's what I thought I was going to put Marshall at because I really do like the makeup of what he's done. I mean, like think about it. He came from a power conference team. Now, NC State has traditionally not met expectations, but they've always had talent. We've seen how many players they've put into the NFL. They're kind of like UNC in that regard, right? Both teams have a lot of really talented players. The team just doesn't win championships for whatever reason, right? Injuries or
they just don't put it all together.
Yeah. So I think he's brought talented players on that defensive side that maybe kind of feel or seem like no-name guys right now, but I don't think it's going to take long for this defense to wake up and start making some noise. So, and they've got 2 Doak Walker candidates in the running back room. So, we just say, well, I don't really know who's on the roster. Well, guess what, guys? If you look at the preseason awards, which we'll touch on in a little bit here too, they've got a couple of guys listed. So they've got some talent back there. And Louisiana fans might know one of them because he came from McNeese State. So there you go. A little bit different. TJ Driggers. Now we have 3 TJs on the show, TJ.
Yeah. Be careful with that last name.
I did pause for a minute just to not get the stream kicked off here in a second. But yes, I do have 3 teams tied at 9-3. Now, again, that is overall record. That does not include the conference record. Funny enough, when I did have 9-3, they did all have 6-2 records in the East for me. But they kind of beat up on each other. I'll get to who claimed the title, but technically they were tied in not over overall record, but they were also tied in conference records. So yeah, I did have an interesting one there. Before we jump over to the West, TJ, any other notes that you want to touch on any of these East teams?
No, not really. I think we pretty much touched on them all. I mean, Georgia State will be at the bottom of the barrel. So, you know, it is what it is. So,
I didn't want to do that, but again, you just kind of go at it and you put them out as you go week by week and see what happens. And that's kind of what it came out with. I hate it, right? Like you want to be like, yeah, we're going to be the guys who say that you're not going to be the worst at the bottom, right? But you also got to do the exercise the way you can.
Yeah, do it, you got to go through it, which is why they call it the rankings. So,
yeah. Zach, as a Coastal Carolina student, is a little upset that I did the Shants dirty, putting them with a 4-8 record.
I showed y'all a little bit more respect.
I could be wrong, but there's other factors at this too. Not only are we looking at rosters, we don't know that extremely well just yet, right? Got to get a couple weeks into this year before we really feel confident and comfortable about picks. But you're also looking at like, who did you play the week before? Is there travel involved? Is the other team coming off a bye week? There's a whole lot. And that's why Phil Steele magazine, no free ads, Phil, but Phil Steele's magazine is fantastic because look, I'm going to jump over here to the West because one of my first notes here that I have is Arkansas State, last year was thought of to be pretty good. Then they faltered a little bit, didn't have a terrible record, still won a bowl game, but right, like where are they going to take that next step? And neither you or I have them having a great record. And I had told Schultz on the Locked On Sunbelt podcast months ago, probably before media days, I don't know why people are thinking Arkansas State's not going to be great this year. Well, guess what? They face the most teams in the Sunbelt coming off a bye week. So they are facing 4 well-rested teams while everyone else.
I was going to say they're going to get a lot of fresh jerseys in their face.
Exactly. So they're facing more fresh players in this conference than anybody else by at least one game and mostly 2 across the board at least. So that's not going to be easy on them. And they're playing some tough opponents. So, they play Iowa State, they play Arkansas.
I just watched Iowa State week 0. I mean, they look pretty darn good for it to be. I mean, they were in Dublin in the rain, but still they look pretty darn good.
Yeah. I just don't understand, or I don't know how to state it any other way than kind of you just didn't come out with the record that I thought you would. Like before this, again, they were kind of like the Marshall for me on the West. I went in going, I think I'm going to have them at 7-8 wins, and then I come out with 6-6, and I'm like, that is what it is, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
1 or 2 games go one way or the other. So there we go.
Destiny now hates you, TJ. She 3-9 for Southern Miss. You've got to explain this. So they were a 1-win team last year. Explain the 3-9 prediction.
So listen, they were a 1-win team last year. I gave you two wins. Like, I mean, come on. What more do you want from me? Listen, I know you guys listen, you're getting better. I don't think that you have defensively what it's going to take to win the West. The West is going to be deep. I mean, you got Arkansas State is going to be, we just talked about them, pretty good. Texas State is going to be good. Louisiana is always good. Alabama State always good. I mean, that's 5 losses if you count Troy. That's 5 losses in conference that I have you losing already. You know what I mean? And I mean, the reality is just the reality. I don't have you beating any of those teams in the West other than ULM. Nobody else.
Yeah. ULM was another team, just like Georgia State. I'm like, I bet I come out with a better record than what people think. And here they are at 5-7. I thought the same type of thing about South Alabama, although I was okay with that because I just have no idea where to put them. None. That's one of the teams that, second-year head coach, lost their quarterback, their starting quarterback. That is, I like Davenport. I'm actually a huge Davenport fan, but they lost Gio Lopez to UNC, and it's like, I mean, that is a hit, and so it's hard for me to know what South Alabama is going to be relying on Davenport week in and week out. I think it's going to work out well.
Sorry, side note. Do we think Gio's going to start in Carolina?
So if people were watching, I tagged the Jags Nation Radio because weirdly enough, my wife works at a school here locally in Chapel Hill, and we got practice passes to go kind of take in a practice the other day. And the only reason I had any interest in going was literally because of Gio Lopez. I'm not a UNC fan. I'm a UNC hater, to be quite honest with you. But I wanted to see what Gio looked like. He was taking all the snaps with the ones. He was throwing the ball pretty well. The only thing that's weird is there was a couple times where he was kind of looking around, like holding his hands up, like, what do we do next, or something like that. And that was something I was like, I don't know, like body language wise as a coach, like I'm not loving that. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a different type of practice than they've been doing. And he's just like, hey man, we haven't done it this way yet.
What's happening? Yeah.
Right. And so I don't want to put too much on that or say it's like he's not understanding. But I saw like numerous times some, motions as if like, I don't know, but I mean, he looked great. I mean, he threw a deep bomb downfield for the first touchdown in the little, 11-on-11 drill they were doing. So I would assume with what they paid him, what I saw out of the practice, he will be the starter. I would say, again, this is reading into a lot. The other quarterbacks look like they could probably get the job done. There's no one on the roster who can run like he can, though. So
yeah, I think that's the separator.
Yes. So I think he's going to have that starting spot locked up. But if he's not throwing the ball well, I could see him being replaced. Short leash. You also have Bill Belichick as your freaking head coach. If you're not winning, he will replace you. So
yeah, exactly. Also, Bill Belichick is notoriously known for the game planning to the talent that you have. Right. I mean, look what he did with Cam Newton.
Yeah. Very true. Very good point. Millie Goat saying Texas State has fallen upward and done less, more than anyone I've ever seen. It's probably true, but I will say this: GJ Kenny is a hell of a coach, a good recruiter, and one that Texas State is not going to want to lose. So whatever they're going to have to try and pay that guy to keep him around, your program is going to go as far as Kenny will take you, and I think he's still going to be successful moving forward. They also have the biggest or heaviest O-line in all of college football before the season kicks off. So one little news of note. And then they have this guy in the backfield named Lincoln Perry. He may be okay.
Yeah, he might be right.
He's pretty good. So already saying they're having their Pac-12 celebration this Saturday. And yeah, I did see that. That it was scheduled for a while ago, but because unfortunately of the flooding tragedy, they decided to reschedule it, which was obviously the smart and right decision.
Sure,
there. Destiny wants to revisit your 3-9 prediction for Southern Miss.
Listen, I'm telling you, we can come back to it all you want, but I don't have them beating anybody on the screen right now except ULM. It's just Dominic. Serious question: Who on this screen right now in the West do you see Southern, or do you see Southern Miss beating? I mean, I can tell you because I have. They might accidentally beat Arkansas State. Outside of that, that's it.
I have Southern Miss beating App State because they get them down there at home early in the season, where App State might not have everything figured out just yet. I also have them beating Texas State and Troy. And then everybody else they beat is out of conference. Because I have them beating Mississippi State to start the year. I have them shocking Mississippi State. I don't know if it'll happen. I'm just saying. I don't
have that at all. I don't have that at all. I don't have any of that.
I think
the only conference game I have them winning is ULM.
I think the offense. So last year the defense wasn't awful. The offense was awful. Right? The offense couldn't move the ball. The offense couldn't put points on the board. The defense wasn't great, but it wasn't their weakest point. The offense was their weakest point. Braylon Braxton.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just think Braylon Braxton coming in brings a dimension, not quite maybe like Gio Lopez, but maybe. And he's got some playmakers, but does he have as many as he had in Marshall? That's the question, right? That's where I lean towards you a little bit too, and say, TJ's kind of seen these things happen at the player level. Like he may know that this might not go smoothly in year one. It might be a 2 or 3 year thing.
And that's part of it, right? Like there's an adjustment period that has to happen whenever you get a new quarterback, new system. And again, this is the year or the decade of the transfer, right? Yeah. So you basically have gotten more or less a brand new team. So it's gonna take you 3 to 4 weeks to get started. And that's just across the board. It doesn't matter what conference, what level of football you're playing. Even in the NFL, you don't really know who you are until week 3, right? Like week 2 or 3 is when you kind of find out who you actually are as a football team. So if we're saying that, and we're saying Southern Miss wasn't really good last year, which they weren't. They were last in total defense in the conference last year. If we're saying that already, then and we don't know what they are, and we know that they're not going to know what they are, then how can we definitively give them, quite frankly, any wins right away?
Right.
I can't do it. Like the football mind in me can't fathom them beating any school who has any sort of identity right away.
Yeah. We she's upset that I made the Mississippi State prediction. So yeah. And then someone came in here and said 3-9 for Southern Miss seems generous to me. That's Dave, and she says, "Let me guess, Marshall fan." The back and forth between these two fan bases is going to be great over the next few years as this continues to play itself out in front of all of us. I must have had didn't figure with that prediction. Yeah, maybe on that one. I don't know. I think he's talking about the 6-6 record for Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Texas State. I was looking at Arkansas State's logo as I said that. Again, I thought I would come out with something more similar to Louisiana for Texas State. I do like them, on paper is like what I see, but then when I did the exercise, again, didn't come out, and I don't know. TJ's throwing up the whole roster there. Who Southern Miss beats? I mean, dang, 8-4, not far off.
Absolutely
from my
not.
prediction, but I don't have them going 8-4.
Absolutely not. They won't win 8 games until 2030.
Destiny says, "My favorite TJ on the call." But you got to spell out which one now.
Yeah.
Artie Cat is correcting me. He was not referencing the Texas State prediction, which I'm sure he doesn't like. But he was referencing the Mississippi State falling to Southern Miss. So.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Look again. Maybe it's the heart over the head pick there, but it's like they just have nothing for them to go off of. Like I think like Marshall covers against Georgia in week 1, not because I think Marshall's necessarily got a chance to win it, but I think they have enough of like the unknown, right? Like they don't know what the heck Marshall's going to run out there on the offense, and they don't really know what the defense are going to be put at them. But Georgia has the athletes to just do what they want. I just heard you
say we had this conversation earlier. Athletes trump the scheme regardless of who you are.
Yeah, but I think it's like a 30. It's a high 30-point spread right now, and I'm like, I think they could.
They might cover. They might cover.
Yeah. It's not gonna be easy. I'm not saying like, oh, they'll go out there and keep.
Well, but too, you gotta also think too. Georgia's up by 21-28 midway through the third quarter. You're probably end up calling the dogs off.
Right. You're gonna get your guys cooled down and resting for week 2 at that point. I agree with you there. A-State's favorite.
That is the SEC, Adam.
Yeah. All right, one other one that I want to touch on here specifically is Troy. You have them at 6-6. I was telling you beforehand, the Troy boys do not disagree with you. They're at least 6-6, if not some of them being lesser than that, thinking they're going to miss out on a bowl game possibility and everything. I tell you what, I didn't know what to make of this Troy team, but as I went down, I ended up with a record of 9-3 for these guys. That could be completely wrong, but I just wanted to point that out. We have a huge disparity with Southern Miss. Well, not a massive disparity, but we
sure
off on the Southern Miss thing. We're way off on the Troy one too. So it'll be interesting because at that point, Troy's battling for second place in the West. Which, let's be honest though, the pedigree is there, right? I mean, Troy did win this conference 2 years in a row, so It's not impossible. But at this point, it looks like or sounds like the Troy boys not quite as high up on their own team as I am specifically. This man called us Georgia. Disgusting. Hey, that's your own namesake, TJ. You can't be mad at that.
I know, right?
Ben is predicting Troy to have another down season. Sully, I'll call him Sully so we can stop saying so many TJs in here. But he is a big Huff fan. He's a part of the Saban tree. He's an incredible developer, especially running backs. Ton of SEC bounce backs projected to start. Not the same Southern Miss. Only 9 returners who recorded stats in 2024. So, yeah, I mean, well, big secret here. TJ is working on the Southern Miss roster reload. So he's going to know these things pretty well. So he does know what he's talking about in that regard. But we'll see.
Destiny, we'll revisit. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll come back in week 3 and see what happens.
Now's where we lose a bunch of people because not only do we get the championship matchup, we have the same exact one, which we did not coordinate. Literally, I had mine done, I don't know, earlier today. TJ didn't send me his until closer, like an hour before we
about an hour
live or something. So we did not coordinate. We did not talk about this, but we end up with the likely predicted one for most people, which is James Madison versus Louisiana in the championship game. I'd still
because we have this, we'll be wrong, obviously.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Which is funny. I was telling TJ, I was watching and listening and commenting on Millie Goat's show the other night, and they went through with a group of 5 that were on their show, all the conference champions that they thought that they would end up with.
Right.
And I said at that moment, Georgia Southern versus Louisiana, mark it down. But I hadn't done this exercise yet where I looked at the roster, the schedule, and how it played out. So, yes, my pick has changed since then, but I think both of us would not be shocked at all if it was Georgia Southern, though, right?
Oh, no. Wouldn't be shocked even in the least. I honestly wouldn't be shocked. Well, I'd be a bit shocked if it was App State. I was going to say James Madison, Georgia Southern, or App State. Those 3 wouldn't shock me in the East. But App State would shock me a little bit just because we're revamping and retooling. But stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second. Arizona State was predicted to be last in the Pac-12 before last season started.
Clearly did not happen.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy. I mean, you can be as down as you've ever been on your team, and then the very next season, and this could be Southern Miss's thing here, right? Like 1-win team, and now they could be in a championship conversation. Obviously, those are big projections, but some people think they've got a shot. TJ is one of them. O'Sullivan, that is. I got to be clear for people that aren't like watching. They're like, who? He keeps saying TJ's got this, but he also had that. But Sully says, give me Coastal Carolina over Texas State in the championship. And then he jokes that this is where I lose my credibility. And Chad says, finally a TJ that has sense. We've got so many TJs. We're going to have to put name tags on you guys next time that include the last name, that is, because you're all going to be TJs. So,
or just start calling each other by our last names.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said I'll call O'Sullivan Sully, because he kind of has that in his profile names to kind of shorten it up anyway. So you're saying sometimes people get it wrong before the season, is what Destiny said. Yeah, sometimes we get it wrong. Just occasionally.
I mean, not me. I'm perfect, but yeah,
exactly. There's one expert on the show, and it won't be me. But yeah, Artie Cat said, holding the Coastal Carolina chicken mascot is hard work. It's taken a lot of steroids. Just kidding. I know that it's a hawk. Oh, Georgia Southern. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, this is what I did. I made the pick. I got pictures before I figured out who was going to be in the game. So actually, if you're looking at this visually right now, there's a graphic with the Georgia Southern Eagle perched up on the handler's arm, and then Lincoln Perry from Texas State, the running back. So, maybe that's the world's way of telling me that it's going to be Georgia Southern versus Texas State for the Sun Belt Championship, which also would be a hell of a matchup. Because then you have a couple storylines there, right? Like if Georgia Southern ends up in this championship game, Clay Helton had a pretty damn good year and finally has the season that he wants with the quarterback coming back for the first time ever in his career at Georgia Southern. And Texas State is now in the Sun Belt Championship, and then they're about to leave. So do they leave with the trophy, right? Like storylines there could be pretty good. I'd be totally fine with that matchup, except for the fact I'm a App State fan. So, I wouldn't want to see that too much. But as an outsider, looking at it without those goggles on, that's a game I'd watch and
Yeah,
tune into and be
absolutely.
very excited about.
I think whoever is in the Sun Belt Championship is going to be worth watching. Didn't matter
Yeah.
who it is.
Yeah. Unfortunately, last year I thought we got the matchup that was going to be great, and then it turned into what it is, which I don't quite understand some of that stuff, but I don't know. Okay, Driggers is calling Georgia Southern versus Lala, he says, which they love. But Georgia Southern is going to be the host because he's biased, which, yeah, there you go. Ben saying anything can happen, which we know that is certainly true. Neil says he's not predicting App to win the East, or wasn't last season because the coaching staff and QB were returning.
Sure.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a little different this year.
I'm excited to see it, man. I'm excited to see it.
Adam's got a great point here. Shout out to them moving the championship game too away from Saturday at 3 p.m. Yeah, the Sun Belt it's not going to get the viewers while the SEC and whoever else is playing the game then. So yeah, you need to try and get your own time slot, and they've done that. So yes, absolutely agree. Brilliant move. They need to do stuff. I asked Keith Gill at Media Days last year. Is the Sun Belt ever going to get involved in week 0? There's 7 games. Be one of them, right? Like, just get one of your teams out there. Who cares who it is?
All of them. I didn't even care who was on TV. I just watched because I wanted to watch football.
I watched, and part of it is because I had some interest because Troy does play them. But I watched Nichols versus Incarnate Word. That's a one double egg team, FCS, and it was a good game. It was actually a really good game to watch, and actually one of the hotter games too, because it was down there in Texas. But we'll have to see, man. He made it sound like they didn't really have any discussions. It wasn't something that they were kind of looking into, but we'll have to see where that goes. All right, we're getting a little long in the tooth here, but we do want to have some players on here that you should be watching out for if you don't already know their names. A lot of you tuning in probably do, but in case you don't, here are some preseason award watch list players that are coming out of the Sun Belt. This isn't every single watch list, but these are some of the bigger ones that are going to be focused on. So for the Maxwell Award, which is really second to only the Heisman Trophy, right? The Heisman Trophy is the end-all, be-all trophy to win it, but the Maxwell Award is historic as well with some really big winners in the past. Alonzo Barnett from JMU is on this list. What'd you say?
I said I know a guy who won a Maxwell Award.
Who was that?
Armani Edwards.
Did he? I think he won the FCS.
Oh no, you're right. No, you're right. He won the Walter. Is it Walter Payton?
Yep, Walter Payton Award.
Yeah, he won the Walter Payton. Sorry.
Yeah, but he did win it twice, and at that time he was the only 2-time winner. So there you go. But yeah, a quarterback, Alonzo Barnett, the third. We don't think he's going to be named the starter to start the season, but he's listed on the depth chart, and he's been taking practice without the yellow jersey or whatever the color is, right? Like quarterbacks all wear red typically, but there's another one for an injured player that you wear, and he's not wearing that anymore. So he is close. How close is yet to be determined officially. Corey Rucker is returning to the Arkansas State Red Wolves after declaring for the NFL draft, but I guess maybe not hiring an agent. Is that how you still come back to college, TJ, from your understanding?
I believe that's how it is, but I think now, Adam, I got it wrong, Walter Payton Award. But I think that's how it goes if you don't hire. But I think now you can declare and undeclare whether you have an agent or not, because so maybe these guys now are getting paid. They all have agents, so I think you can do kind of either way, whatever you want.
That makes sense, actually. You're right, because who doesn't have an agent at this point? Artie making a really good point, and maybe we'll invite Artie back for this as a Texas State fan who's going to be moving on to the Pac-12. But Sunbelt has their 50th anniversary coming up in 2026 next season, so that's a huge accomplishment, and hopefully they have something big planned. Yeah, I'm sure like the media days and all that will have that all over the place, but we'll see if they do something throughout the year to kind of recognize that going forward. Another Maxwell Award semifinalist, watch list. God, I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. So these guys will make some of these semifinalists later in the season. They kind of, take some players away after once in a while. They whittle it down. So when the voters get their chance to actually vote on this, there's really only 8, 9, 10 guys at the most, instead of a list that's got 60 dudes on it to start with. But Braylon Braxton also listed there. Again, this is where Southern Miss could exceed expectations because of this guy's play. So we'll have to see. Clune Van Andel is on the Lou Graza Ray Guy watch list, and we know we just had a winner from Louisiana last year. So not crazy to think that he's got a great shot at being on this thing late into the season. Josh Moten moves over from Marshall to Southern Miss on the Chuck Bednarik watch list for defensive players. Tyree Skipper. TJ, I think is he corner or is he safety?
Corner, I believe.
Corner, okay. Yeah, watch out for. If you haven't watched this guy play, you will notice him. He
jumps off the screen. He leaps off the screen.
Yeah, Jacob Thomas is very, very good. The first time I truly noticed him was watching him against UNC in person last year. Yet again, one of those guys that just knows where to be when. Maybe not the fastest, but I mean, he's still got pretty good speed, but just all over the field making tackles. And then, this guy named Jason Henderson might just end up being the NCAA career tackles leader by the time his career is all said and done. I think he'd have a great shot at winning the Chuck Bednarik Award if that is to happen this year. So that will be interesting. We ain't done. We've got a couple more to go through. Jason Henderson, he's only on 2 more lists, the Bronco Nagurski watch list as well as the Butkus watch list. So I think that guy might be pretty good, TJ.
Yeah, he might be all right.
Go ahead. I think you were going to say something else, though, right?
I was going to say a correction on Tyree Skipper. He is safety. Big safety. He's a safety.
Too. Okay.
He's almost 200 pounds. Big old boy.
We could have been safe at just saying defensive back, right? I mean, we should have just done that.
But we want to be accurate.
That's true. We definitely do. But guess what? Tyree Skipper also appears on the Paycom Jim Thorpe watch list. Those guys were smart enough to go get a sponsor for their award trophy. So we will say Paycom in front of Jim Thorpe, but the player himself is just Jim Thorpe. Jacob Thomas also on that one again. And then Chase Gamble, who's a really good player for Georgia Southern on there as well. And then we've got the big nasties on the Outland watch list. We've got 2 James Madison players. This may be one of the reasons we've got them in the championship game, TJ. Emmanuel Bush and Pat McGurtry. I love saying his name. And then Emmanuel Bush also shows up on the Bronco Nagurski watch list. Again, these are not all the top players in the Sun Belt, but these are some names you're going to see repeatedly, names you're going to hear repeatedly on broadcasts, guys you're going to want to be aware of if your team's taking on a team with one of these guys on it. Right, TJ?
Absolutely, 100%. You're going to, especially those big hogs up front for JMU. They can move bodies.
Yeah, they definitely can. It'll be interesting to see how many guys get down there late into the season on these lists because there's a lot of talent, right, in college football. And let's be honest, we know most people, and likely because of that, most awards are going to lean heavily towards the power teams. They watch them more, they hear their names more, they see them more. But guess what? That's why we're here, right? We are doing this to bring light to the Sun Belt and their players, teams, coaches, fans. So hopefully it's working. But we got some work to do. That's why we got the website up, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. This will pretty much wrap it up. But, TJ, is there anything else you want to cover or talk about? I know we didn't specifically get into week 1, but, hey, we got a little bit later start this year than we wanted to on this. But I think we needed one like this, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, thanks for everybody tuning in. I mean, the interaction was awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in, checking us out. Looking forward to doing more of this, man. I mean, coming to you weekly. We'll have some stuff to talk about next week. Hopefully App State goes and puts on a show in Charlotte. I'll be there. We'll be there.
Yep.
And hopefully we get it going, man. But again, thanks to you guys for tuning in, and we're just getting started, baby. Talking ball.
Yes, we are. Don't miss out. All the articles coming out on SunBeltSyndicate.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. If you can think about an application, we probably got it with the Sunbelt Syndicate's name attached to it. And as TJ said, we're going to be in Charlotte. We're going to be sharing some stuff from there. And don't forget, though, Thursday is actually when Sunbelt kicks off with ULM hosting their first game at home against an FCS opponent. One last question right before we go. Will the Sunbelt get into the playoffs, TJ? This is a great question from Ben before we get out of here.
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, you got to go undefeated. And I don't know that we have anybody that's going to go undefeated with how well the East and West are built out. It's going to take an act of Congress for anybody to go undefeated. And quite honestly, number one, you got to go undefeated in conference. But then number two, you got to have some really good out-of-conference games. And unfortunately, really the only ones – I mean, I don't know that beating South Carolina – or I'm sorry, USC is going to catapult Georgia Southern, right? I don't know that JMU's out-of-conference win is going to catapult them. I don't know that if App State beats Boise State, that certainly won't catapult them if we don't go undefeated in the conference. So it's going to take an undefeated season plus a big win outside of conference, and I just don't see it happening for any of us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I actually had Gata Talk. I think it was the guy who runs Gata Talk because he didn't have it listed in his bio when I tricked to confirm. But he was making the mention on some of the top games and was saying something about how do you not have, Georgia Southern versus a blue blood in USC as the top game, I think is what he had said. And I said, well, if you look at it this way, like you said, TJ, earlier, USC is not ranked coming into the season. They haven't been all that great. Boise is ranked coming into the season. And so, you've got an App State team that is vastly different from last year, and you don't know what their makeup is, but you've got a shot at a ranked team at that point, at their place, at a historic field with a historic team. I think the simple answer is I'm with you, unfortunately. I've been saying the last 2 years I think they will get in, but I just went through this roster schedule with you, and I didn't come out with anybody who only had 1 loss or 0 losses. And I'm agreeing with you at this point in time. You as a group of whatever we are now, group of 6 team, maybe a loss to a power opponent who's especially ranked early in the season, you can probably get away with that. 2 losses, you're already on rocky, thin ice, and you got to hope somebody else ends up with something like that. One of the other top teams ends up. If you got 3, I think you're out. And I think we had just about everybody with 3 or more. And the one team that had 2, I think I had both of their losses being in conference. Yeah. So, I don't see it this year. I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to be wrong, but I don't. It doesn't look promising.
Yeah. It was him. Yes, I knew it. I thought I recognized his name, and I clicked on his profile to verify he was the one that ran Gata Talk. You need to add it to your profile, man. What you do is work, and you need to put that on your resume. your Facebook resume may not really matter to you, but you definitely need to connect that to yourself because you put a lot of time and effort into that, making it work. You guys, I haven't made it through your second part of your preview, but I've made it through the first part. I love what you guys are going through. They're really high on their wide receiver room this year, TJ. So sneaky thing if you aren't paying attention. Yeah. Oh, you shared me that link with the Dallas brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously only one's going to be playing, but he's darn good. So they ought to be very high on their receiving room. Yeah.
That's a really interesting story too. I'm sure Gata Talk has kind of gone over that, but we won't get into that this time. We'd love to cover that kind of thing in the future though. But we really, again, appreciate everyone coming on here, adding a couple more minutes with the last question. But it's time for us to get out of here. We will see you this week with more Sunbelt coverage live. Well, I don't know if we'll be live, but from a live game.
Yeah, we might be.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.